My birthday is on the 20th of July. I'm not exactly sure when this will be uploaded, but hopefully sometime around then, which will make me 25. And for the last 10 years I've done this thing where I'd look back on the year and try to come up with a word that summarises it. I don't know why really, because you can't encapsulate an entire year into one word and one thing, because there's always so much that happens in a year. And a lot of it contradictory and things you forget. But I've always done it anyway. I think it's nice to look back and see what kind of meaning you can draw, see what you've gone through and how you've changed. So I'm going to try and go through the last 10 years of my life. That's this video, and I'm just going to jump straight in, otherwise this will be very long. Starting with the 15-year-old me, and what I'm calling the Year of the Fire. A very dramatic name, but fitting for two reasons. Firstly, because I became deeply infatuated with a girl that year. That period we all have growing up where we become like a dramatic, hopeless, romantic, hormonal idiot. This was my time for it, only I was stupid enough to get like that over a girl who was already in a relationship, meaning all I could do was just wallow and yearn in a state of loneliness, I guess. Perhaps that was the idea. Perhaps I unconsciously, deliberately chose someone who was taken because it gave me a reason to wallow. Maybe that's what I wanted, who knows. What's clear is I thought I loved her when obviously I didn't. At that age it was very much just an object of love, and so I was kind of depressed at that point in my life. And I made her into some angelic saviour sort of figure in my mind, which, she wasn't at all. She's a human. But you do that growing up. Well, you can do. And it's fittingly symbolic when you think about it. I was unhappy for all sorts of internal hidden demons I didn't understand, because I was at that age where I hadn't figured out who I was. So rather than trying to wrestle these unintelligible demons, you instead tie it all into the idea of just unrequited love, and you make that the sole and the only reason for your unhappiness, because it's easier to think about that way if you put it all into one external package. Anyway, it was also the Year of the Fire because at its end, or at least through the summer, I found a kind of just fiery motivation to pick myself up and stop wallowing. I think I just got fed up with feeling fed up all the time. And I found Muhammad Ali as well, who became a very important idol of mine. Just to think of the motivation he gave himself and the fight and sheer strength of character to achieve everything he did in all the circumstances he was faced with, that became incredibly inspiring to me and my motivation in a lot of ways. It kind of, I guess, helped me get over her. 16 was the year of unity. I finished school and stayed on for sixth form, which, if you're not British, is like an extra 2 years for further education you can do before going to university. And that was a great time because sixth form was its own building within the same school, and the people who were there wanted to be there, and we're all a bit more mature now, and we all get on a lot better as a result. Our sixth form had just a really good community feel where everybody knew everyone and got on with everyone. And I found a lot more security and confidence within myself as a result. It was just a good time. Me and my friends meeting up every day to muck about during the free periods we got. And we did loads of mucking about, and it was just an idyllic time in that sense. We had freedom to be ourselves and have a laugh without too much responsibility yet to get in the way. And I had friends back home in our village who went to a different school. I always got on well with them, but now we were in the full swing of a band we'd started in our old garage in my old house, and that was great too. Over the years we gradually converted the garage into like this mix of a studio space and also just a place for parties. And it was like the place, the physical space for our adolescence, where we got to express everything we felt in our lives through the kind of the trashy, broken down state the garage was in. It was perfect for that. We wrote on the walls, we made music and comedy sketches and just figured out who we were. So that was a good year. 17, however, was probably the opposite, the year of the love triangle. which probably tells you all you need to know already. And it's a year I'm not proud of. My friend, I'll say my best friend, but there's several people I'd consider my best friend, so it's only one of them. But anyway, my best friend had a girlfriend he'd been going out with the year before, and she was the year below us, but now she came up into sixth form with us, and it caused a love triangle between them two and my other friend who fell for her, and that made things quite tense and awkward, and I ended up like a mediator between not only them three, but also the endless arguments my best friend and she would have pretty much every night over Skype, which what we used back then. I'd be messaging them both all the time and trying to resolve things, and it soured what should have been a brilliant year, really. Our final year of sixth form, our last chance to enjoy meeting up on a daily basis and just feeling like we had the world ahead of us. We still had a lot of fun, I mean, don't get me wrong there, and there weren't really any huge fallouts like there could have been, but it did make things a bit tense. And then they broke up towards the end of the school year, and the summer started, and I'd obviously been talking to them both a lot because I'd been playing the mediator, but she then fell for me. And that was kind of a first for me, at least in terms of a substantial relationship. Someone falling for me rather than the other way around. And I was flattered and stupid. And it was a summer now, so it was a while on, and I'd talked to my friend, kind of checked with him first, and he said he was okay with it, but it was still a bit dickish. We started going out through the summer, and it was my first substantial experience of love, and there was a lot of ups, but she was quite a troubled person. She had a difficult home life, and plus I was hopelessly idealistic and romanticised about everything, which made for a terrible combination. And that leads us into 18, which is the year of the winter. School ended and I went off to uni, but most of my best friends didn't. They all stayed at home and they were all still together, where I was suddenly alone and just terrified that maybe I'd be forgotten by them. Maybe they'd move on without me, and so much time would pass that when I got home it'd all be different and we'd have drifted apart forever, and that would be my friendships gone. Which was a stupid fear, but a big one at the time. Plus, I was still in this relationship that slowly made us both more and more miserable. It was a really unhealthy relationship for a lot of reasons. And partly because I was caught in that, partly because of various stuff which made my start to uni a mess. I never made any friends there, really. And because I didn't, and because I felt so lonely at that time, it just sort of shot all my confidence and self-esteem to pieces, and I became completely isolated and incapable of making friends then anyway. And all I had was this relationship that I couldn't dare let go of, yet knew it only made us more unhappy the more I cling to it. And I tried to deal with my demons when I was 15 by cultivating a sense of motivation and fight and Muhammad Ali-ness. The problem was, I wasn't actually confronting any of the internal wreckage I felt within, just kind of fighting to ward it off. It was still there, and now it exploded out again, and I became incredibly depressed. And to top it all off, because I was far away at uni, she started going out with my best friend again, her ex, but while she was still seeing me, and she still came up to visit, and she kept it a secret from both of us. She lied to him that she'd broken up with me, and she didn't tell me that she was even talking to him, which is mad. And obviously we found out, but I think that kind of became my saving grace in a way, because that brought me and my best friend together again. I mean, we'd never fallen out, but I'd become isolated and drifted, and this drew us close once more. Both our relationships have ended, obviously, on pretty good terms though, considering. But yeah, anyway, me and my friends now got like a brotherly bond coming out of this, and he was on a kind of gap year of not knowing what to do in his life, and I was a mess, so we talked all the time suddenly, and stayed up pretty much every night till about 5 a.m. playing The Last of Us Online, which is a tremendously underrated multiplayer, by the way. And I think that sort of saved me. I did kind of need him. We didn't have heart-to-hearts or anything at all particularly, but just to have him there, to have a simple laugh with, to have some ordinary, innocent fun in my life again, and to know I could rely on him for that. So I think I'll forever be grateful for how he helped me that year, and for the rest of my life, it doesn't matter what happens. If he ever wants my help, I'll do all I can for him. 19 was the year of the rebirth. I slowly began to piece myself together again. I'd started seeing a counsellor the year before, and it continued into this year, and it really did completely turn my life around. And it doesn't do that for everyone, but it did for me. Externally everything was exactly the same, but internally I became more robust and secure within myself, and I started to regain some of the confidence that had been shattered after school ended, and I made a friend at uni finally, a very good friend. Even though we rarely speak, he's still a bloody good friend, and that was also what I was learning. It doesn't matter how little or often I saw or still see any of my friends, we can still pick up right where we left off. I learned to trust that then, that it's okay I didn't see my friends every day like I used to at school, that sometimes you can go a month or two, because we're strong enough friends that it affected absolutely nothing, we're still the same. That itself was its own sense of security, to know whatever I was doing in my life, they were all still there. That's like an anchor for when you're being blown about in the wind. And 20 was the year of the frenzy. It was my final year of uni studying literature, and I think it was partly a mix of being slowly worn down by all the stuffy academic side of studying literature and all the essays and everything, because I'd gotten really sick of them by the end. Plus I was feeling good, and enjoying my life again now. I'd kind of gone through all this mess internally and reached the point where I didn't hate myself anymore. And I learned self-love and learned how to be content in the present moment, mostly. And I think to just feel okay again, where I'd been through the turbulence of the last few years, it gave me this kind of frenzied passion to just get on with things, like wanting to make up for lost time. And I'd seen a documentary about Leonardo da Vinci as well, and became kind of inspired by just how curious he was and excited about absolutely everything and always interested. So he became a kind of idol for me a bit at the time for that. And I just wrote more, made more music, poetry. I wrote a play, read more, learned more than I ever have done at any other point in my life. And when I finished all my uni work but still had the flap for like another month or so, in that period I was just so happy to be done with essays that I threw myself into working at all the things I did care about. And I learned Italian as well. In that 1 month space I studied so much Italian and got pretty good at it that it's kind of a shame I never quite kept it going to the same level since. 21 was the year of discovery. Somehow, after being relieved to be done with essays for good, I ended up staying on at university for another 3 years, studying to become the psychodynamic counsellor I am today. And it's probably the best decision I could have made, and I still don't really know how how it happened. But yeah, I started that course, and it very much became a journey of self-discovery. You spend so much of the course reflecting about yourself and just being interested in your own behaviour. Not like in a sciencey or a critical way, but just, playfully curious to learn more about yourself. And I did. And counsellors have to be very secure within themselves and just good at processing their emotions if they want to, help process other people's. So internally, the course helped me become a much more secure, robust person who did process his feelings much better. And it was a good year. And I would say, for the most, I was now happy. not just content, but happy. And not exactly because the life around me was good, but I just felt happy within myself. 22 was the year of the storm. We had, I think it was this year, we had 2 deaths in the family and a lot of other problems that it'd probably be unfair on my family to talk about, so I won't. Externally though, it was a very, very difficult year, and obviously I found it hard, but I think how I was internally helped me to manage and process it all a lot better. I'm trying to do them quickly now because this has been unnecessarily long a video for what it is. 23 was the year of endings. It was my final year of uni before I became a fully qualified counsellor. I call it the year of endings also though because I finished my first draft of a novel I'd been working on, as well as also finishing a collection of short stories I'd written, and they were both huge for me. I know it sounds so inconsequential, but I've spent years and years writing, and I'd finish a lot of smaller projects like individual short stories or poems or music, but every time I ever attempted something big like a novel, I'd get about halfway through, then it would become difficult, so I'd lose enthusiasm, then get a new idea and start that one instead, and the cycle would just repeat. This time though, I made myself get to the end, even when it was like pulling teeth, and just doing that, despite how big a mess that first draft of the novel was, I learned so much from the experience, and not just writing wise learning either, but emotionally, I think, somehow. Because they say writing a novel is like a journey through yourself and your feelings, so I think, I don't know, it sounds strange, but to just finally get to the end of one, it felt like closure and fulfillment somehow. And I guess symbolically it was an experience of how, you can walk through a dark tunnel where it gets very hard, but that then you get to the other side if you keep going and you finish it. And a lot more happened that year, but I'm trying to be brief, and that's the thing that comes to my head at the moment. 24 is the year just gone. And I mean, technically we're halfway through the year, and I should evaluate when we come to like the end of December, but who cares? Right now, I reckon I'd call this the year of opening, I think. I'd finished my training and got a job as a counsellor now, at least until COVID put it on hold. It was the beginning of this channel, obviously, and that's been a real opening for me. Not just in terms of something to do, something to feel excited about, something that hopefully can continue to grow, but the way I've been able to connect with you all and talk to you openly like I have done this video, but also just interact in the comments, I think, and often there is a real genuine sense of connection I feel through the comments, and then the Discord was obviously a natural evolution of that. The thing is, I'm quite a reserved person, really. Even though I feel a lot of love and care for a lot of people, I'm not that good at opening up enough to reveal it and to fully connect. And I think you've all helped me with that. Obviously not just you and not just this channel, but that's been a part of a very gradual process I've had over quite a few years of just slowly opening up more again. Perhaps best seen with that Aurora video I made. I'm in the sort of frame of mind right now where I would make a video like that, because I guess I've learned to see and appreciate just how much love there is in the world, and how beautiful the world is, and how most people are good people when you only give them a chance to reveal it. And if everything is wonderful, then so am I, because we're all part of the same thing, as far as I'm concerned. And that makes me happy and excited to be alive and excited about the future. It is scary to think of myself as 25 now. I never imagined I would hit this age. But I'm happy with the person I am. That's enough. It's all I should ask for. I've got a long way to go, and there's a lot still wrong with me and things to still work on, but it's part of the journey. I don't know. Thank you for watching and letting me share all this with you. If you like the video, give it a like, subscribe if you haven't done, support me on Patreon if you want to do that bit extra, and I'll try and give you a bit extra in return. Otherwise, hopefully see you next time.